YouTube, what's going on? It's your humble host, The Voice, here once again. Today we'll be looking at Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1. But I'm going to try to come at it from a different perspective. Did the episode bridge the end of Season 2 to where we are currently? But I'm only going to be giving my thoughts on the episode at the end of this. What this video is about is 4 things that I think you missed that are very important. Before we get it started, there's a disclaimer. I haven't read anything Legends related. I've seen some videos online. I've watched a lot of fan-made videos. But where my Star Wars experience starts is simple. Force Unleashed 1, Force Unleashed 2, Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, Fallen Order, sequel trilogy, prequel trilogy, and the OGs.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
I love Clone Wars. Rebels, very underrated. If you have not watched it, go watch it now. One of my favorite Jedis, well, multiple of my favorite Jedis are in that show. Such well-made characters. So, just so everyone's aware in this disclaimer that all opinions are my own, to only be considered as kind of fan theory and predictions, and that's it, that's all, okay? I should preface it by saying this. It takes a lot, I'm no writer, but from what I understand, it takes a lot to put a script to get approved, multiple revisions, to then someone to agree to give you millions of dollars to then go and produce a show. So when I see people sometimes do reviews and say, oh, that didn't make any sense, it probably made sense, just they weren't able to convey it in the way that the script probably intended. But just like how this laptop is here, you should always remember that the producer is trying to make you feel something, and how the reaction, the expressions on people's faces, their reactions to scenes, they're trying to make you feel something by watching it. That's what makes it so enticing to get people to buy in. Like, think about when you go see a movie that's like very predictable, you're probably like, oh, okay, whatever, I don't care. But if you see something like Game of Thrones where, spoiler if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, but where they just go and they chop off the king's right-hand man, right? Like that's like crazy wild. It's like, oh, it's unpredictable. It's so interesting because it's unpredictable. I wonder what's gonna happen next. So just be aware that everything in shows are set up to make you feel something, and our the spray print on the wall and the arts and crafts everywhere. Somebody put that onto an empty box, which is a set. They put those items there to make you see something or not see something. So everybody made a choice for what you see. So everything you see in the show, you can deduce something from it. Okay? The other thing I'll say about just producers quickly before I get to the points, because you're like, why is this guy talking so much? Get to the damn points. So what producers often try to do also is outsmart the viewer. And just to say really quickly, Inception, right? Is the coin spinning? Is he in a dream? Is he not in a dream? The producer knows the answer. But oftentimes they probably just decide, oh, I'll leave it ambiguous because I don't want anybody to be hard on the, oh, that was the right decision. Oh, that was the bad decision. Blah, 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 blah. Anyways. Got in a rant there somehow. Let's get to these points. So the 4 points that I think were important that you might have overlooked. Point number 1. We know that Paz Vizsla has beef with Mando. And I'll be doing a further breakdown of Paz Vizsla just to show that there's a lot more going on here that I think people are paying attention to or are seeing. He makes certain actions in Season 1, Season 2, and in the Book of Boba Fett that lead you to believe that he feels as though he's in direct competition with Mando. He obviously thinks the Darksaber is part of his family, part of his heritage. Decided to try to win the Darksaber in battle versus Mando, but was beat up, lost. And look at the colors of this helmet right here. Now look at Paz Vizsla's helmet. They're both teal, they're both blue. What does that tell me? Things that I think are more important. This is not just a random foundling situation. This is Paz Vizsla's foundling. And if I'm Paz Vizsla, I'm thinking, I just got beat up by Mando. Who is Mando's successor? Likely Grogu. Who's my successor? This probably 10, 12-year-old kid, right? Grogu's this big. So for me, I think immediately Vizsla's plotting just for the right time. All right, so now that we got the first one done, we're on to number 2. So number 2, Navarro. There's a few things that happened leading up to Navarro that need to be discussed because, well, here, I'll just put the video. So take a look at this video right here that explains the time difference, or the time that Grogu spent with Luke training in the Force before he returned to Mando.
We know that he started off earlier in the Jedi Temple. We've seen flashbacks to that speak to that. And then we know that he's been rescued and spent many years with the Mandalorian. Went back with Luke. Now we've been 2 years apart from him there training. What's interesting is that as he chooses to return to his friend, the Mandalorian, because he's developed an attachment.
Now that we know that it's been 2 years that Grogu's been away from Mando, and who knows how many months since they've decided to go to Navarro, we know that Navarro's been built up. We can see it. There's a port, or at least a heliport, or whatever you want to call a spaceport.
Welcome to Navarro, independent trade anchor and outer rim hyperlink port.
So I think it's super important that Greef Karga's character did tell us multiple times that Navarro is now independent from the New Republic.
The last thing we intend is to bow down to yet another far-off bureaucracy, no. To my watch, Navarro will become the first truly independent trade anchor in this entire sector.
I think that Dave and John are using this to sidestep the main story, which would be like the sequel trilogy, and kind of saying, hey, let's just focus on what's going on over here. Because when we think about what's going on over here, and I'll talk about that more at the end in like the official prediction section, but where's Thrawn? Where's Ezra? Where's Sabine? Where's Zeb? Where's Hondo? Where's so many characters that fans love or hate, or just have an emotional attachment to? Where are all those characters? And I think that when they do get introduced, Chopper, like when they get introduced, like, yo, these characters are dope. It's like, yeah, they are dope. Very dope. All right, so now on to number 3. The biggest takeaway for me from Bo-Katan is, I think she was trying to almost kind of play Mando. I think that their relationship dynamic is super unique because we have a once Mandalorian who held the Darksaber. Mando now has the Darksaber. She understands that if she has it, it'll lead to the people coming back and rallying behind her, so she thinks, her cause. And that's kind of been the general way of how things have been, so it's fair for her to assume that. What I do think is going to happen is she's going to go with Mando. When she was telling him about the curse and the poison and the this and the that and everything that's wrong, I think that when Mando said he's going to bathe in the water to atone for his sins, that this is kind of ruminating in the back of her mind.
I am going to Mandalore, so that I may bathe in the living waters and be forgiven for my transgressions.
She might have been the cause for the purge. Losing the Darksaber might have been what caused all of that. Like, we don't know really, right? But we do know that she feels this immense, it's not revenge, but it's a similar word that's slipping my mind, but she has this passion that she wants to do right and fix. I think she's gonna go with him. I'm still unsure if she's gonna go to atone, or if she's going in with like malintent, like Lion King Scar type thing, like, you know what I mean? For the kids who don't know what I mean, watch Lion King. Very good movie. She mentions the Children of the Watch, and that all the other clans, the splinter clans, were the cause of Mandalore falling apart. So I think right there, you have to remember that anything the characters say in the show is now like canon, right?
Your cult gave up on Mandalore long before the Purge. Where were you then? The Children of the Watch and all the factions that came before fractured and shattered our people.
So her mention that there were different sects of Children of the Watch, she was part of Death Watch, we now can understand, okay, because I think at first everyone's like, oh, are they the same? Are they different? So now it's clear. There are multiple different sects of Mandalorians. We obviously know what happened to Mandalore when her sister was trying to bring about a change of a more pacifist way. Like I could actually do a full review of Bo-Katan, because I actually think she, just as pacifist, I think she's super important, and we're overlooking some of her characteristics that might lead her down a dark path also. So that should be clear. But just to wrap up Bo-Katan, I think she's gonna end up going with him. I think she's gonna maybe at first want to kind of like backstab him, but she will be like, oh no, he's doing the right thing, and maybe then might become a supporter of his or his cause. I don't know. We'll have to kind of see how that. Well, first thing I should say, I saw some reviews talking about how does she just sit there all day? It's like, dude, I don't think people realize, like, when Mando got there, he landed on like 3 levels below the actual platform that he was walking on, and there was 2 like huge, it's a castle, just to say it's a castle. She's in the throne room at the moment. Think about it a little bit. Number 4. So at this point in time, we know that the armorer is not upset, but she's not happy Mando's around because he broke the oath willingly. So now he's an apostate, hence the title of this episode. What we do see the armorer do at the start of this episode, which I think is very important, what I think you missed was the dialogue with the armorer and about the waters of Mandalore. So at the start of the episode, once she's done forging, doing all her hammer drums thing, Travis Barker, she's pours a little bit of the water before she starts forging. Now, we don't know what the water is. We do know she has a small vial. We know that she uses it to build Beskar armor. So the first time we ever see the armorer, she does build the whistling birds for Mando, and we don't see her pour anything, but we do see her pour it 2 other times. One to make his full armor, and at the start of season 3, episode 1. So this leads me to believe that she's running out of some of that water, whatever it's used, maybe to purify the Beskar, or just as kind of like a ritual. It's possible that she's running out of that, and Mando's going to bring more of that back, and that's pretty much what's going to help her continue to make armor, continue to repair the armor, etc. So she's going to very, 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 very be very thankful. Sorry, I just scratched my foot. I got super itchy. My final thoughts on the episode. So I don't really want to say if the episode was good or bad. Like I was saying earlier, I think that how I'm going to look at this episode is, did it bridge season 2 and connect it with season 3? And if I never watched the Book of Boba Fett, would it hamper my experience? And I would say the answer is clearly no. They answered all the dialogue questions about what he's been doing for the last couple of years. When he's talking to Grief Karga, he's like, I went on a quest, I finished my quest, and I did this, and then I did that. So by the dialogue between characters, we're able to kind of get caught up on the whole story. I think they might do something similar next. But I'll leave that for my final predictions part of this video. I think that what is important as like a bonus is we know 2 years have passed and Mando has spent most of his time battling on Tatooine, but they don't mention the planet and they don't mention Boba Fett. So I don't know if it's because it didn't do so good that they didn't mention that part, or for some other reason. So I'll leave it at that. Those are my thoughts on the episode. Let me know if you thought I missed anything. Let me know if you thought we're thinking the same thing that I was thinking when I was going through these 4. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Rewind. Sorry about that. Forgot one thing. My predictions for where the season is going. Let me just say, we know what Mando's new quests are. He has to go bathe in the waters of Mandalore. He has to get a chip for the IG-11 drone before he goes to Mandalore. So likely next episode we'll see him go on a hunt, likely to Tatooine, because there'll be Jawas there, and everybody knows if anything's missing, just find a Jawa and they'll get the part for you. When he goes to Tatooine, we'll see some familiar characters there. That might be where they show us Fennec Shand and Boba Fett, or it might be where they just kind of don't show us any of that. The bigger thing is that he's gonna come back, get the chip, get the IG drone up and running, and then after go to Mandalore with Bo-Katan, unless they don't want us to go back to Tatooine again because they're like Boba Fett. That's why we didn't mention it, because they don't want to talk about it at all. And Bo-Katan kind of catches up to him somehow and mentions to him that, oh, well, I have a droid, or I'll have your back instead. And we already know that he trusts human more than droids, so that would make sense. He's like, oh, okay, I'd rather have someone who has my back that's a human than a droid. So those are the predictions for next episode. If you tune in this long, thanks so much. I'll be up and running again after I check out Season 3, Episode 2 tomorrow. And then after, keep your eye out for a video on Paz Vizsla and Bo-Katan Kryze. Once again, thanks very much for tuning in. Signing out.